Salut, welcome to a quick video about articles. We're going to discuss what they are and why they're important really quick. So first of all, what are they? Articles can be definite or indefinite, meaning the, ein, or some. Listen closely for pronunciation. So the masculine definite article could be le, which is a sound, or L apostrophe if the next word starts with a vowel. La, L apostrophe, or les. Notice there's that A sound with this. And that's plural. Indefinite articles could be un, une, or des. Go back and repeat this if you would like practice. But we're going to talk a little bit more about them, particularly separated. So definite articles can mean the, which is very similar in English in meaning, but not in use. And I'll give a couple examples shortly. Because in English, we can drop the, but we can't in French. Now, meaning-wise, again, they're the similar, like l'oiseau, L apostrophe, because the next word starts with a vowel. And it means the bird. Le gâteau, the cake. La banane, the banana. And les poissons, for the fish. Now, indefinite articles mean a or some when it's in the plural form. So, un oiseau, un gâteau, une banane, and des, meaning some. Now, what's interesting in French is that every normal noun needs an article. And I mean every normal noun. So in English, we have I like bread, but in French, we have to say j'aime le pain. J'adore les beignets. Je fais les biscuits suivants. So definite articles can be dropped, but tu veux un biscuit? Indefinite ones don't. So since I said every normal noun needs an article, let's talk about what a normal noun is. And if you remember 8th grade, nouns are person, places, things, or ideas. The normal noun is not going to be capitalized. It can't be a pronoun, so it can't replace another word like I, you, he, she, me. So some examples like car, it's a thing. It's not capitalized. It's not a pronoun. It has an article. Jessie, capitalized. Elle, that's she. It's a pronoun. It replaces Jessie. But chocolat is the other noun, and that is neither capitalized nor a pronoun, so it needs an article. Cities don't need articles. They're capitalized. And yet, even though France and countries, any country, is capitalized, it's going to need an article. And you're going to have to remember which ones are feminine and which ones are not. Now, there's one tiny little addendum here. Indefinite articles can be dropped after a negative statement, and I will show you that in a bit. But let's talk about when we're going to use them and how do we make that choice between, which is what my students tend to have the most questions about when to use which one, definite or indefinite. Remember, definite is the, indefinite is a. So if I say, oh mon Dieu, il y a un zombie. Oh my God, there's a zombie. A zombie. It is indefinite. We have not defined it yet. It is brand new to our situation. Whereas, if I then add to that same conversation, un zombie joue au piano, or du piano, all of a sudden I have two zombies because I have two undefined zombies. Now, we probably don't want two zombies, so we could take out that un zombie and we can replace it with le zombie. Now, all of a sudden, I only have one zombie. I introduced it with an indefinite, and then I defined the zombie I was talking about by using the. Le zombie joue du piano. Now, let's summarize really quickly. So, we mentioned earlier that funny addendum where negatives and indefinite articles tend to be dropped after we use that negative. So, for example, non, je ne veux pas de bière. No, I don't want any beer. So instead of saying I don't want a beer, if somebody asked me, hey, do you want a beer? I would say I don't want any, and I would drop the indefinite une and put just de. Whereas notice in the next statement that should be capitalized, je ne bois pas de l'alcool. I don't drink alcohol. In a generalized statement, I have a definite article of L apostrophe here, and I don't drop that one. So let's summarize in. Definite articles are le, la, L apostrophe, et les, and they all mean the. Indefinite articles are un, une, des, which mean a, un, or some. In English, we drop the definite articles, but in French, every normal noun needs an article. Except French does drop an indefinite after the negative, and they replace it with de, which then will mean any in this situation. The last thing that you're going to need to know is that sometimes they combine, like can and not become can't. So of or to or at can combine with the to create something new. So a and le combine to make o. A and la don't combine. They don't really like each other. A and les do combine to create ou. De and le become du or de à l'apostrophe. And de and les become des. Notice how the feminine form, they don't combine. They don't like to combine for some reason. Now, indefinites won't do that. Notice the only thing that we're doing is putting the D apostrophe because two vowels right next to each other. They're not really combining sounds. So let's take a look at some examples. Tu vas à la piscine. Notice the verb aller, to go. You go to something. To and the feminine won't combine. But if I'm going to the office, je vais au bureau. Bureau being masculine, I have to say au, to and the. When you're playing an instrument, you play of the instrument. So you need de. Tu joues de la guitare, guitar being feminine. But if you do something like playing sports, tu fais du sport, sport being masculine. And again, similarly, fais pas de sport, you don't do any sports, so you're going to use de. Well, okay, so what we've learned then, again, is definite articles are the and a. Indefinite articles are a and some. In French, we cannot drop the definite article when we're talking, whereas in English we can. However, with a negative statement like this, we can drop the indefinite. If you want to see some more examples about the uses, stay tuned. But if your brain's full, that's the basics. Okay, thank you. Okay, so definite articles, for those of you who stay tuned. Definite articles mean the again, and we're going to use definite articles for any blanket statements. For example, war is horrible. La guerre est horrible. All of war. This is a blanket statement. Le gâteau n'est pas bon pour la santé. All cake, so the cake, isn't good for the health, anybody's health. So we're using the definite the. Les chiens sont les meilleurs animaux domestiques. The dogs are the best pets. No, les chats sont les meilleurs animaux domestiques, which is, forgot I added that, the. Okay, so again, we're going to use that for blanket statements. And sometimes I tell my students that if you're talking about in general, we always use the. And French people use it a lot way more than in English. So I would joke around that the animals themselves might say le miau. And there was that funny meme for it. Now, indefinite articles are going to refer to something else they can also refer to something in a general sense. So I love all chocolate, not just some of the chocolates out there. I like them all. So I'm going to use the definite article. And notice if I translate to English, I love chocolate, and I tend to drop that. Question of, tu portes la maquillage? Do you wear makeup? Notice in English, you just say makeup. Whereas in French, you have to have this because in general, makeup in general. Tu as les allergies? Do you have allergies? Notice I need the because I'm talking about allergies in a general sense. The fun thing that you're going to learn later on is that articles can be replaced with something else. So, le zombie joue du piano is an article, but I can replace it with a possessive, my zombie, or a demonstrative, this zombie, or these words certain. So certain zombies play piano, or other zombies can play the piano, or maybe some zombies can play the piano, quelques zombies, or maybe a number, like 4, 5, or 6 zombies, and then I'm not going to need the. Each zombie, chaque zombie, again, I can replace that chaque. You don't want the each zombie. And the negation of aucun zombie ne joue de piano. No zombie, not a single zombie. So again, these can all replace articles, which is really fun. So what we've learned again is that the definite article means the, indefinite articles mean a, ein, or some. And every normal noun is going to need an article, except we can drop the indefinite articles in a negative sentence. And they can be replaced with other things. Now, there are a few more omissions that you will find out later when we're talking using verbs like être, demeurer, devenir, élire, rester, things like being and staying and becoming. You may not need that article. So, for example, je suis prof. And I like to think about this because it means I'm a professor, but it's as if that description of professor is an adjective. Je deviens étudiant. I'm becoming a student. In English, we need a, but in French, étudiant here is more like an adjective because I'm going to have to make it agree if it needs to. So for me, I would need an e on the end because I'm a female. Je reste mère. I'm staying a mother. So again, these are almost professions. And so to simplify it, just say that with professions, you don't need an article unless you're providing more detail and several adjectives to clarify. Okay, other omissions can be when the adjectives comes before the noun, which remember if you haven't covered those yet, those are things like bangs. Then the plural indefinite article de is normally replaced with de. So je veux acheter de bons chocolats. So it's almost as if then becomes some. So I want to buy some good chocolates. I don't need de. There's a few more omissions that in case of compound nouns, like one noun with the preposition and then the second noun, then we just use de. So a glass of wine, un verre de vin, une tasse de café, a cup of coffee. Yum, yum, yum. So basically, these are giving a quantity, and so then we only need de instead of the article. Articles can also be frequently admitted after avec, sans, sur, sous, par, or un. And a lot of these are very common expressions that you're going to hear. And here's just a few examples. She wants a house with a pool. Pool is what we normally say, but here we just need with pool. You can't enter without a password. Notice we don't need a. Sans mot de passe. The doctor put him on antibiotics, but in French we say under antibiotics. And again, this is a very interesting, expression. These are common expressions, and you're going to hear them. And so if you don't know them now, that's fine. You can pick them up slowly later. So what I do want you to remember is, in summary, after that negation, the de, we'll need de with indefinite articles, but we will still include the article with definite articles. Remember, the definite articles mean the, indefinite mean a, ein, or some. And in English, we drop a lot of definite articles, but French can drop the indefinite article after that negative. Articles can be replaced with possessives like mine, yours, demonstratives, this, that, and some other interesting words like other, certain ones, some, or not any. And there may be some omissions, but in general, if you're ever unsure and you're directly translating and you think, oh man, it doesn't sound good, this words with or ein or some, throw in a the, because it'll probably work. If you have any questions, let me know, but I hope that was helpful. À tout à l'heure.